I am making a Fossil Magnet Warrior deck profile. I am mainly making this because I've been wanting to try playing Fossil Magnet Warrior for a while now. I just couldn't think of what the correct ratios would be, so I've been trying to figure that out. And this is what I've come up with, and I actually really like how it works. The only thing I probably would add is this is currently a 41 card deck, so I'd probably make it 42 cards and to add in a single copy of Nibiru the Primal Being. But starting off with the monsters, I play one copy of Adamantipator Researcher. This card is a free summon if you control a non-tuner rock monster. And then once per turn, you can activate the top 5 cards of your deck and summon a level 4 lower non-tuner rock monster that's excavated. And then you put any remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. You can use each effect of Adamantipator Researcher once per turn. Next, I play 2 copies of Flint Cragger. Flint Cragger has the effect that if it's special summoned, discard card, and if you do, you can send a Fossil Fusion monster or a Fossil Fusion monster from your extract to the graveyard. And then you can send this card from your field to the graveyard to inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Then if Fossil Fusion's in your graveyard, you can return it to your... You can return to your graveyard one of your banished cards that is Fossil Fusion or mentions it. You can use each effect of Flint Cragger once per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Beta, the Electromagnet Warrior. Beta has the effect that on summon you can add a level 4 or lower Magnet Warrior from your deck to your hand. And then during your opponent's turn, as quick effect, you contribute it to special summon a level 4 or lower Magnet Warrior from your deck. Next, I play 1 copy of Shell Knight. Shell Knight has the effect that this card's normal summoned, you can change it to defense position, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. This card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard by card effect, then you can add a level 8 rock monster from your deck to your hand. Or if Fossil Fusion's in your graveyard, you can special summon it instead. Ordinarily, this would be something like Gaia Plate, the Force of Earth, but I do not have one of those, so realistically, this would just let you add, I believe in my current, it would let you add Nibiru or any of the Magna Warriors, but realistically, you don't want the Magna Warriors in your hand. So pretty much this would just be able to add Nibiru. But ideally, it would be something like Gaia Plate, the Force of Earth. Next, I play 1 copy of Magnet Warrior Omega Plus. Omega Plus has the effect that those cards in your hand or graveyard, you can destroy one other rock monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, you special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. And then when your opponent activates the effect of an Earth monster, you contribute this card in response to then target one monster your opponent controls and flip it face down. You'll use each effect of Magnet Warrior Omega Plus once per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Epsilon the Magnet Warrior. Epsilon the Magnet Warrior has the effect that when it's summoned, you can send a Magnet Warrior from level 4 lower Magnet Warrior from your deck to the graveyard, to then copy that monster's name, and then you can special summon a Magnet Warrior from your graveyard that has a different name than the Magnet Warriors you currently control. Next, I play 3 copies of Magnet Warrior Sigma Minus. Sigma Minus has 2 effects, which is while it's in your hand, you can reveal it in your hand to fusion summon a rock fusion monster using this card and any other monster or monsters from your hand or field. And then when it has 3 effects, my bad, I forgot about its 3rd effect. Its 2nd effect is when it's summoned, then you can send a level 8 Magna Warrior from your deck to the graveyard. And then finally, once per turn, when an Earth monster battles, you can negate the attack. Or is it when an opponent's Earth monster? Okay, when an attack is declared involving 2 Earth monsters. That's what it was. I couldn't remember the wording for some reason because that effect hardly ever actually comes up. Next, I play 2 copies of Magnet Warrior Sigma Plus. Sigma Plus has the effect that while your opponent controls an Earth monster, you get to choose your opponent's attack targets. And then if Sigma Plus is sent to the graveyard by card effect, Then you can activate its effect to target a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior in your graveyard except for another Sigma Plus and special summon it. Next, I will play 3 copies of Kwakimeru Guardian. Kwakimeru Guardian has the effect that while it's on the field, if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can tribute this card to negate and destroy that monster. Then, during your end phase, you either discard an Iron Core of Kwakimeru or reveal a rock monster in your hand, or else it self-destructs. Next, I play 2 copies of Weathering Soldier. Weathering Soldier has the effect that if it's destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add a Fossil Fusion or a card that specifically lists Fossil Fusion in its text, except for another Weathering Soldier from your deck to your hand. And then you can only use that effect of Weathering Soldier once per turn. And once per turn during your end phase, this card loses 600 attack. But usually you're going to send this to the graveyard with card effects, whether it is like Foolish Burial, you'll use as fusion material for Sigma minus. Next, I play 3 copies of Duotarian. Duotarian in this deck just lets you discard it to be able to add magnet bonding from your deck to your hand. Next, I play 3 copies of the card that starts off the entire combo, which is 3 copies of Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus. Which in this deck, there are, technically speaking, 12 copies of this card. It's 3 of this, 3 Magnet Bonding, 3 Duotarian, and then 3 of a 4th card. But this monster you can special summon from your hand, non-activated effect, by sending 2 level 4 lower Magnet Warriors from your deck to the graveyard with different names. Which ordinarily also sends Sigma Plus and Beta the Electromagnet Warrior, and then Plus can bring back Beta with its effect. And then Beta can grab Sigma. Sigma can fuse itself with anything else to summon one of the fusion monsters. But Linear Magnum also has the effect that it can target one other Earth monster on the field, and it gains attack equal to half of that monster's attack until the end of the turn. And finally, if Linear Magnum is destroyed, then it has the mandatory effect in the graveyard to return itself to your hand. Then next I play the 3 Magna Warriors, which is Valkyrian the Magna Warrior, Berserkian the Magna Warrior, and Tellusion the Magna Warrior. Valkyrian and Berserkian are just in here to summon Imperium Magnum, the superconductive battlebot, which is a 4,000 attack Omni-Negate monster. And then Tellusion the Magna Warrior cannot be normal summon or set, and must be special summoned from the graveyard with its own effect, banishing a Sigma Plus and a Sigma Minus from your hand, field, or graveyard. Then it has the effect during your opponent's turn as a quick effect. Let's see, it has 2 effects. I forget which one is the opponent's turn quick effect one. Okay, the first one is when your opponent activates a card or effect, target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, or if it has an Earth, you can take control of it instead. Then during your opponent's turn as a quick effect, Tellusion contribute itself for cost to then summon a banished Sigma Plus and Sigma Minus. And then that is it for the monsters. For the spells, I play 1 copy of Magnet Induction. Magnet Induction has the effect that if you control a Magnet Warrior monster whose original level is 4 lower, then you can special summon a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior monster from your deck with a different name than the cards you currently control. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, Magnet Warriors and Magna Warrior monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effects. And you can only activate 1 Magnet Induction per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Time Stream. Time Stream lets you target a fossil fusion monster you control, tribute it, and if you do, special summon a fossil fusion monster from your extra deck whose original level is 2 higher than the treated monsters. This is treated as a fusion summon with Fossil Fusion. During your main phase, except when this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card and a Fossil Fusion monster from your graveyard, then target a Fossil Fusion monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Next, I play 2 copies of Fossil Fusion. Fossil Fusion lets you fusion summon a Fossil Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials on it from any graveyards except for materials with a specific graveyard requirement instead. Or for a specific graveyard requirement listed. So, like, there's some that require you to use a monster from your opponent's graveyard, where some can also be summoned by using monsters solely from your graveyard. The Fossil Fusion has the effect that neither player can target that special summon monster with monster effects, and then if a face-up Fossil Fusion monster you control be destroyed by battle or card effect while this card's in your graveyard, you can add this card back to your hand from the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Fossil Fusion once per turn. Or you can only use that effect. Okay, my bad. You can only use your turn from graveyard to hand effect once per turn. Next, I play 2 copies of Miracle Rupture. Miracle Rupture has the effect that you can send a level 4 lower rock monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then, if Fossil Fusion is in your graveyard, you can draw 1 card. Next, I play 3 copies of Infernal Punisher. This is the card I was talking about earlier. That is another copy of Magnet Bonding. Or Magnet Bonding, which is another copy of Linear Magnum plus minus. As Infernal Punisher has 2 effects. In this deck, you only ever use this effect to add a water dragon or a water dinosaur monster from your deck to your hand. You can only activate one of its 2 effects per turn. So realistically, you can only activate 1 per turn. And then next, I play 3 copies of Magnet Bonding. Magnet Bonding has 3 effects, where each effect is a hard once per turn. Where you can add a Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum from your deck to your hand. Or you can add a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior monster from your deck to your hand instead. You can add a level 8 Magna Warrior from your deck to your hand. Don't know why you would do that, since all of them are really bad in the hand, as all of them are bricks. Ideally, you would have them in the graveyard. If it said send a Magna Warrior, a level 8 Magna Warrior from your deck to your hand, or from your deck to the graveyard, it would have been a whole lot better. And then its final effect lets you fusion summon a rock fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling rock monsters from your hand, field, or graveyard back, or banishment back into the deck. And then lastly, for the traps, I play 1 copy of Gozen Match. This card is only in here because of one of the fusion monsters having the effect that all monsters on the field become Earth. So unless your opponents also play an Earth-based deck, then they just don't get to play. And that's it for the main deck. Like I said, it's 41 cards. The only thing I would change would be adding a single copy of Nibiru, the Primal Being, as it is very searchable in this deck, so it's not that big an issue. Which, moving on to the extra deck, I play 1 copy of IP Masquerena and 1 copy of SP Little Knight for links. IP Masquerena just lets you link summon on your opponent's turn during your opponent's main phase as a quick effect, as long as it uses itself. And then a link monster that's link summoned using IP can't be destroyed by card effects. And then SP Little Knight, when it link summoned using a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster, can then target 1 card on the field or in the graveyard and banish it. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can use SP Little Knight's effect to then banish 2 monsters on the field, with at least 1 being a monster you control, until the end of the turn. And it does target for that effect as well. I don't think I mentioned target. And then next, I play 1 copy of Gallant Granite for these monsters. As this card has 2 effects, where you can add a rock monster from your deck to your hand, or you can persona a rock monster from your hand in face down defense position, but there's no reason to use that second effect, so really it just lets you add a rock monster once per turn. And then next I play 1 copy of Naturia Beast. Naturia Beast just has the effect that when your opponent activates a spell card, then you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. You can activate its effect, that is the cost. Send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, negate that card and destroy it. Naturia Beast must remain face up on the field to activate and resolve this effect. So if you activate Naturia Beast and your opponent responds to something like Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, then you just don't get to negate the spell card. Next, I play 1 copy of Fossil Machine Skull Buggy. Skullbuggy has to be summoned with Fossil Fusion. When it destroys a monster at battle, it inflicts 600 damage to your opponent. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a monster from your deck to your hand that mentions Fossil Fusion. You can only use the Skullbuggy's effect once per turn. And then Skullbuggy requires a rock monster in your graveyard and a level 4 or lower monster. Next, with the same fusion requirement, is one copy of Fossil Warrior Skullbone. Which makes I'm just making sure I know the effect. Metal phase. Okay. Fossil Warrior Skullbone has the effect that it must be special summon of Fossil Fusion. I'll say it now. All the Fossil Fusion monsters have the effect that it must be special summon of Fossil Fusion. But it can make 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. And then you can banish a card from your graveyard to add a time stream from your deck to your hand. You can use each effect of Skullbone. You can only use that effect of Skullbone once per turn. Next, I play one copy of Fossil Dragon Skullgar. Skullgar requires a rock monster and a level 4 lower monster in your opponent's graveyard. And then it has the effect that if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. And you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a Fossil Fusion from your deck to your hand. You can use each effect of Skullgar once per turn. Next, I play one copy of Fossil Warrior Skull Knight. Skull Knight has the effect of, if it attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. And then, when this card destroys a monster at battle, you can activate its effect so it can make a second attack in a row. And then you can banish a card from your graveyard, target a monster on the field, destroy it. You can use each effect of Fossil Warrior Skull Knight once per turn. Next, I play 2 copies of Conduction Warrior Plasma Magnum. Plasma Magnum has the effect that while it's on the field, all monsters become Earth. When it's summoned, you can add a Magnet Normal, Quick Play, or Field spell from your deck to your hand. And then once per turn, you can send a level 8 Magna Warrior from your deck to the graveyard to special summon a level 4 or Magnet Warrior from your hand. And you can only use each effect of Plasma Magnum once per turn. Next, I play one copy of Flux. This card has the effect that when it's summoned, then you can special summon a rock monster from your graveyard. And then, once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target a rock monster you control and a card your opponent controls. I believe it's card. Yeah, return them to the hand. You can only use each effect of Flux once per turn. Next, requiring a rock monster and a level 7 or higher monster, I play one copy of Fossil Machine Skull Convoy. Skull Convoy has the effect that while you control this fusion summoned monster card, all monsters your opponent controls lose attack equal to their original defense. This card can make up to 3 attacks on monsters during each battle phase, and when it destroys a monster by battle, it inflicts 1,000 damage to your opponent. Then I play one copy of Fossil Warrior Skull King. Skull King has the effect that it can make a second attack during each battle phase. If it attacks a monster in defense position, it inflicts piercing battle damage. And then during your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, discard a card, and if you do, special summon that monster to your field. Next, I play one copy of Fossil Dragon Skullgios. This monster requires a rock monster, and then a level 7 or higher monster in your opponent's graveyard. The Skullgios has the effect that before damage calculation of this card battles an opponent's monster, you can switch the current attack and defense of that opponent's monster until the end of the damage step. And this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. And then if this fusion summoned card battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage it inflicts to the opponent is doubled. And then lastly, I play one copy of Imperium Magnum, the Superconductive Battlebot. This card is just a once per turn Omni Negate. It does have an effect on destruction, but unless you already summoned Valkyrian and Berserkian using their original summoning conditions, then you cannot actually summon them. So that is it for my Magnet Warrior deck profile. If I have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, any ideas of decks like to be made in the future, or decks like to see face each other, feel free to comment down below. I always read the comments. Thank you for watching.